We're here in the Genelec room in Mexico City. What a dream to be in a place where we get to share immersive audio with wonderful audiences, but also each other.
Right. They're so hungry, the folks here, to learn.
Right.
And you're demonstrating so many great techniques about composition and stuff. I'm just watching minds get blown. But then you really thought this out. And you really pre-production, pre-planned, knew what you wanted, visualized, and made it happen. And I think that's blowing their minds, that they're seeing how much work you put into this. And then they listen to it, and then, then they're just drooling.
As a composer, and then a recording engineer, and a bassist, and a producer, to know that there's that light at the end of the tunnel that is mastering.
Yeah.
That is that checkpoint. The confidence that it gives you as a landmark in the production process.
Yeah.
To be on the artist side was really fascinating, to be reminded after not making records for a number of years, to be reminded of what that means, what it means to have that ability to then hand it over to someone that you trust and adore, and say, here, please finish this.
Well, I'm honored for the trust. I really appreciate that. And that's just an honor to be a part of the project. You approached the back and forth not as a mastering guy who is hypersensitive, critical, attentive to all the details that one does. You stayed focused as the artist.
Yeah.
And I totally appreciate that, because then we have that dialogue and you know that you're taken care of on the back side.
What I realize is that, I have to be the advocate for the art, and I have to listen to it that way. Taking in the music, obviously I've obsessed over it for a long time.
Yeah.
I felt very confident about what it was.
Yeah.
But also the knowledge that once you're inside something, there's no way to have the full perspective.
Right.
No matter how much I would want to believe it, I knew it.
Right.
I knew it, and that's where you come in.
Right. I appreciate that. You're leading by example as an artist and as an engineer, as a producer and as a musician. You're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're saying, I'm going to do this from this perspective, and this is why I'm doing it. And you stick to why you're doing it.
Right. Another fun part about this is immersive first. I mean, it's not even immersive first. The immersive is just the music. Like, that's what the composition is.
Right.
I think we both sort of locked in and got on the same page about, let's finish this.
Yeah.
And then stereo, I need to go back to the drawing board, make completely new stereo mixes to honor the music and alter it in a way that feels authentic to the music in 2 channels.
Yeah.
And then you mastered that as a separate thing. And I'm just curious because I shared with you that I didn't compare these.
Yeah.
I never compared them. I never thought about them needing to relate to each other on a specific level. I just thought of them needing to reflect the music properly.
Right.
But I'm curious on the mastering side if there's anything that came up, or whether that was sort of how you were in it.
Well, I appreciate the fact also from that standpoint is that you treated them as 2 different things. One wasn't a subset of the other. I mean, yes, the music was the same, the recording was the same, but the presentation is different. The intent is different. You intended it to be like you started with an immersive, but creating the stereo wasn't just let's just fold this down. Just taking all of those things just because you have them and they're in the immersive, it gets too cluttered. It's too much. There's too many microphones. There's too much space. There's too much whatever. Doesn't honor the music. And so rather than just saying, well, the easy way is to fold this down, or is to just take this and, get rid of the channels and kind of tuck things in where you can, you approached it as something different. I also really respect the ability to look at art and look at music and say, well, in this format, this is what this needs, and this is how this is going to have an emotional connection. But a different format, and all the ingredients in the stew doesn't always make a good stew necessarily. And so you approached it differently, leading by example, as you didn't compare. It wasn't a back and forth. It wasn't trying to find a compromise between. Optimize and optimize, not like do one and compromise and look for in between. And so I did the same. So in the mastering side of things, I followed your lead, and I did, as we do, I sat down, I listened. I didn't do anything until I listened all the way through. And then I was like, okay, here's what I think I want to do. And then I figured out how to go where I wanted to go.
Amazing.
Then came the stereo.
Right.
Same approach. I never went back and forth. I didn't care.
Yep.
I knew what I heard, and I knew approaching it from that standpoint of this is what you're presenting. So knowing that things like, well, let's pull the bass out a little bit, or let's find a little bit some of these things that give it the poof of air at the bottom, or the, those things that may not have been appropriate in the other one, certainly appropriate in this one.
Right.
So rather than shoehorn in, well, I did all of this, so it's going to have to work here, doesn't necessarily, and it didn't. I did different things.
Amazing. And then ultimately, of course, the art of mastering, the pursuit of translation.
Yes.
But we're here in a different country, in a room. You know, the folks at Genelec do an insane job to make super critical listening spaces in less than ideal environments.
Right.
But
it's great.
We're sitting here listening to it in a 714. I mean, beautiful speakers, the whole deal. But at the end of the day, whether I'm even on the stage or sitting at the side, or more importantly, folks got to hear it today. And at this point, it's not released. Maybe by the time people see the video, it will be released.
Right.
But people connected to the music. And that's, for me, that's all that matters, really, in the sense of when I bring the audience into the perspective, which is releasing music. Obviously, it's fun to explain it to people who are interested, but a listener is just going to experience it. They're going to let the story be told. And so translation-wise, you just, what beautiful work.
Well done. I appreciate
that. Truly stunning.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the trust. You know, it's hard to hand stuff over, especially when it's your skill set too. Like, you know, it's you're fantastic and excel at that and would have done an amazing job if you were like, I think I'm going to do this myself. But just to hand that over and just kind of let it be there's a trust and a faith in that I don't take lightly either.
Right on. Well,
yeah, I totally appreciate that.
I can't thank you enough for all of it, the sharing, the community. You do so much for it as well. Thank you again for mastering this record so well.
I appreciate that. You're welcome. Again, leading by example. We're doing our best practices. We're doing things, and then we're sharing them with folks, which I think is what's best for the industry. Is if we want to see this succeed, is we want to help people find ways to creativity and translatability and distribution in its best path, and what honors the music first. That's why we got into this. What I think about this format, immersive audio, moving forward, is the opportunity to show creativity. I loved watching people's minds blown. I saw folks that were here for both yesterday and today, and you didn't have the video yesterday,
right?
And you did today. It still blew their minds, but I watched them go, wait, what? And then seeing the players and hearing a little bit more of the backstory and some of the separation and even just how it was done kind of reeled them in, and just watching people just kind of nod and look and laugh and smile and grin and bob their heads and stuff. And like, that's what you want to see out of people listening to your music.
Totally, yeah.
So you did it.
Thank you. Yeah, the video, it's fascinating. When we consider immersive with two-dimensional video, the video for me and Michael Fisher, who's the filmmaker, brilliant work. I mean, he put a lot of effort and captured it with equal intent.
Yeah.
But I think what it does is it helps to provide a human element to what people are hearing.
Yeah.
And maybe now more than ever, it's important. It's important for people to be reminded that musicians in a room doing things together, or musicians playing their instruments and bringing their love and humanity to it is everything.
Yeah.
Everything after that we capture, but at the source is all of that. And when it starts there and then eventually it gets to mastering, that's the journey.
Yeah.
So the start and the finish. And
awesome. Well,
thank you.
Happy to be one of the bookends.
Right on. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it, Justin. Awesome.
Beer o'clock.
Beer o'clock.